Okay, this is the third attempt to make this video. Hopefully everything works. Guys, I have heard a lot of people recently say that the reason they have not invested in Bitcoin as of yet is because they don't understand it. So I thought that I would explain it in super simple and easy to understand terms for regular type investors, people who have been putting into their 401k, their IRA for a while. They have heard about Bitcoin, but they don't understand it and they think it's just not for me. I think that is a bad idea to take, and nowadays it's actually a lot easier to get into Bitcoin than it ever has been before. So, the main thing to understand about Bitcoin is that 10, 14 years ago, it was an experiment, and the idea was they wanted to create something that was resistant to the government's debasement of currency through the printing of additional money. The idea was we would create this digital thing that had scarcity, digital scarcity. There would only be 21 million Bitcoin ever. You have to find them just like you find gold by mining, but you're digital mining instead of real life mining. Anyway, computers solve complicated problems to break open blocks, which then give them Bitcoin. However, they will only ever be able to find 21 million Bitcoin. That is the total amount. So you don't really have to understand how all of that works. All you have to understand is that there are only 21 million Bitcoin, and that's it. Now, the government prints additional dollars, and when the government makes more dollars, the price of Bitcoin goes up because there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever going to be, but there's always going to be more dollars. In theory, the price of Bitcoin will have no top. Now, that is an experiment that has been working out for about 14 years. Every time the government prints more dollars, the interest rates go down, Bitcoin go up. And you can see that on the 4-year charts. If you are trying to trade Bitcoin, and a lot of people are, you're probably going to lose money. And that's because you don't know exactly when Bitcoin is going to go up or when it's going to go down. If you are trading on a long period of time, though, what you can see is Bitcoin has an average rate of return of 150% year over year. It was more like 200% for a little while, but now it's going to be about 150%. Maybe it goes down to 100% year over year returns. But again, it also all depends on government money printing. So essentially what we know about Bitcoin is government prints money, it goes up. Government stops printing money, Bitcoin goes down. So when you are taking a bet on Bitcoin, what you are betting on is that the government is going to print more money, which is pretty much guaranteed because they have to refinance their debts. So what I wanted to do is show a couple of charts. This is your standard retirement chart, okay? Let's say an individual who is 30 years old who wants to retire at 67 and their life expectancy is 85 because they're going to work their whole life. They make $70,000 a year. Their current income is about, or their current income increase, that's how much they're going to get in raises every year is 3%. And they're investing in the S&P 500 at a 10% year over year return. Inflation rate's 3%. They have no current savings. They have no other income like Social Security or pensions in retirement. They're going to save 10% of their money, and they're going to try to retire. This person, if they save from 30 to 67, will have $3.1 million in their retirement account. Not terrible. That's totally livable way to do your retirement. However, if we switch this to Bitcoin numbers, and let's say Bitcoin does really horribly. A person that is 30 years old could save and retire at 45. Current income increases at 3. We're going to say they're making $70,000 a year. Their life expectancy, we'll say, is 90 because they get to retire early and relax. The current income increase is 3% year over year. We'll leave that the same. We'll leave all these other things the same, except for the fact that we're going to change the investment return rate. The Bitcoin investment return rate is on average 150%. Now, it does have 80% drawdowns, and everybody is super freaked out about the volatility. But if you look at Bitcoin on a 10-year time horizon or a 15-year time horizon, you can tell that every 4 years it does 7x or whatever, and then it has a massive drawback, and everybody freaks out. But then it goes on another tearback. The drawbacks are never more than the increase, right? So it's just like the S&P 500, just like everything else, except for if you average out the investment return over a period of 10 years, the average year over year return is going to be about 150% for the next 10 to 15 years. So we calculate that out. the same individual, I don't even know, the numbers kind of break here on this. Is that $4 billion that they're going to have? $4,435,000,000? No, that can't be right. You'll need about $87,092 at age 45 to retire based on inflation rate. What did I do wrong with this? So 30 wants to retire at 45. Life expectancy is 90. Current pre-tax income is 70,000. Your current income increases 33%. Okay, let's just do 100% year-over-year return. Let's say that it's actually less than that because these numbers, again, they sort of break. $236 million. Okay, so $236 million is what you would retire at 45 with. You don't have to save until you're 67 anymore. You just save here, and you'd have $236 million by the time you're 45 in 15 years. Now, is that going to change? Is that going to go down? Maybe. Is it going to be a little bit less than that? But even if I'm wrong here by 50%, you still have $100 million in a very short period of time, in 15 years. This is what happens with Bitcoin when you look at it over a long period of time. Now, this is for a young individual who's looking to retire early. The other option would be, let's say you don't trust Bitcoin very much, and so you don't want to make a massive allocation to it. Let's say you want to do, retire at 67. Let's say you're 38 and you want to retire at 67. You want to have a fairly normal life. Let's say your life expectancy is 85 because you're going to work your whole life. We'll leave all the income metrics the same. We're going to put the year-over-year increase at 100%. But let's say we only invest 2% of our income into Bitcoin because we don't have enough money to save up 10%. With only 2% of your income invested into Bitcoin, you're still looking at retirement with what? I mean, the numbers get ridiculous when you expand it out to longer periods of time. Let's go to 50. Say, how much will you have at 50 if you only put 2% of your income into Bitcoin? $5,909,000 at the time of retirement if you retire at 50. That's the situation. I would highly recommend that even if you have a 10% allocation to your 401k, allocate 2% of your income to Bitcoin if you're in this kind of situation. Maybe you're late and you haven't been putting away into your retirement your whole life and you're just realizing that you're behind. You can maybe allocate 2% to Bitcoin and have a substantial amount of money. If you are currently retired and you're wondering how to allocate in your portfolio, you're living off your portfolio day to day, and you're wondering how to allocate your portfolio, what I would do is I would replace whatever amount of your portfolio is currently held in gold as an inflation hedge. That's what I would put in Bitcoin, or put 2% of your total portfolio into Bitcoin, and just know that 2% is going to fluctuate a substantial amount. It's going to go dramatically up in the up years, and it's going to go dramatically down in the down years, but the down years are never going to be as down as the up years are up. That's just how Bitcoin works. The government is always going to print more money than it makes. So how do we do this, though? Do we have to go into our trading views and look at these ridiculous charts and try to understand how Bitcoin works and try to understand how APIs work and all this other stuff? No, we don't have to do that. We can just go and buy the IBIT ETF in pretty much any of your retirement accounts, your 401ks, your Roth IRAs. Generally, you will be able to buy the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF, just like you buy the iShares Gold ETF. You can now buy the IBIT ETF, and this tracks, if you look at the year to date, this tracks the price of gold. This tracks the price of Bitcoin. It has not had a massive shift. There is a fairly high expense ratio on this IBIT ETF. You might be able to find a better one. So Grayscale has a Bitcoin Trust ETF, Bitwise Bitcoin ETF. Pick one of those, figure out which one has the best expense ratio. I just buy the coins. However, I get that a lot of people don't understand how that works and how to take possession of your coins, get them off the exchanges and stuff like that. So if you just want to make an allocation and use this, I would suggest the BlackRock iShares ETF based on my zero knowledge about it. That was the first one that came out. and probably is the best one. There's only a year's worth of data here, because that ETF just came out. I want to say this year or last year is when they came out with that. But Bitcoin as an asset class though has 10 to 15 years worth of historical data. So we know that it goes up whenever the government prints money. That's what you're betting on when the government's printing money. Buy Bitcoin. This is, if you look at this price action of Bitcoin right here, this was, so from here, this was when they started raising interest rates. The housing market started taking a shit. They raised interest rates and raised interest rates. This whole time was on the news that they thought they were going to increase interest, or they were going to lower interest rates. Again, more news that they were going to lower interest rates. More news they were going to lower interest rates. Now they actually lowered interest rates here, and we had this massive leg to the upside. And then they said they were going to do more. They said they were going to do more. Mortgage rates didn't come back up. They said they were going to do more, and then boom, Trump gets elected, and they lower interest rates again. Pow. So Trump gets elected here, boom, it shoots up, and then they lower interest rates again, boom, it shoots up. This is probably not done yet. It's going to go for quite a ways. We also just reached a new all-time high here. So this is Bitcoin, guys. This is the type of stuff that it can do. Here's the situation. This little bump right here is about here in the bull run, in our current bull run. And I think that this chart right here is to this chart as this next chart where we haven't gone to yet is to this chart. That's what it's going to look like. That's what it's always looked like in the history of Bitcoin. You can go down and you can even find the one prior to this crazy one, years prior, and then boom, ran up this time. And again, it's so dwarfed you can't even see the previous run. Then boom, this one is so dwarfed by this run. And then you go to this one. This one is going to massively dwarf the previous run. So anyway, we've got plenty of data on Bitcoin now. It's not a weird asset anymore. It is currently, if you look at top assets in the world by market cap, companies and their market cap, Bitcoin is the top 10. It's in the top 10. It's number 9 right now. And I think it's actually going to go up. I think we could potentially have the potential of outpacing Amazon this bull run. We're definitely going to flip silver. We're definitely going to flip Amazon. Maybe even flip Alphabet. I think we'll go to 3 trillion market cap this year at least, which would be super cool if Bitcoin could do that. But anyway, it's not a weird thing anymore. It's not a crazy thing. It's not just a thing that nerds do anymore. It's legitimate assets, top 10. You can get a BlackRock ETF just in your 401k, your Roth IRA. You don't have to trade it like a crazy person like me. So just wanted to get that information out there and let everybody know that this is, significant amounts that you could be making or saving, even if you just make a small allocation of Bitcoin. Depending on who you are, I think there's 3 different types of people. There's people like me who just YOLO all of our money into Bitcoin. And that's pretty much what I do. I do have a retirement account that's in, less strange or weird asset classes, but I also have Bitcoin. I have a substantial amount into it. I understand Bitcoin. I know how it works. If you don't understand Bitcoin, you don't really trust it, I highly recommend you still make a 2% of your income allocation to Bitcoin. It's going to massively change your life. And if you are retired and you don't have any income anymore, I would say the same thing. Take 2% of your total portfolio, and whenever the government is printing money, like they are doing right now, flip 2% into your into Bitcoin, into the Bitcoin iShares Trust ETF. Whenever they say we're going to raise rates, you should go ahead and switch it over into bonds, and the rates in your bonds are going to be higher, which is fantastic. So you get your bonds, and then whenever the bond yield goes down, switch yourself back over to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is going to go for a massive ride. That's basically how trading Bitcoin works in a nutshell for a long-term investor, somebody who doesn't get into the weeds, doesn't necessarily need to know all about, the craziness, the technicals, and the crazy technology stuff. I love talking about all those things. If you're interested in that, I might make more videos on that later. But that's how you use Bitcoin as a financial tool for just the average Joe who doesn't understand how it works. Thank you guys for watching. You have a fantastic day.